Hi friends, I'm finally back for Flosstube number, what is this, 8? No, 7. It's been a very long, like 3.5 weeks. I don't know. It's been too long, but I've been so busy and I keep waiting for me to like not be busy, and then I don't know, like I swear I just get busier and busier the older I get, and I hate it. So I had to just schedule time to do this, and I'm here, so I have a lot to share. I have some finishes, some new starts, some haul, lots of plans, and as far as like what's been going on here lately, we did take our cat Weenie to the vet a few weeks ago. She has this rodent ulcer on, it's like the underside of her upper lip. And it's called a rodent ulcer. I don't know why it's called a rodent ulcer, because it's got nothing to do with rodents. Like, she didn't attack or eat anything like that. It's just an allergy, I guess. But we've kind of been battling it since last October when we moved into our house. And I was really convinced that it's just an allergic reaction to something in new construction. We have the same pest control guy that we used at my parents' house when we lived there. So I have not been able to figure out what it is, but it wasn't going away, and we were trying all kinds of different steroids and medications. Finally, I said, okay, let's biopsy it, see what's going on. Ginger just knocked her bone on the floor. Good grief. She acts like she can't pick it up. Let's just wait. You can do it. Just get it. It's so hard watching her struggle. You got it. There you go. Put it somewhere quiet. Here. There you go. You can have it right there. She's so happy, like, all the time. I love it. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to pause this. To be continued. Okay, anyway. She's lost interest in the bone. What was I saying? We took her to get a biopsy, and it took like 8 days to get the results. And I mean, like I said, I was pretty confident it wasn't like cancer or anything, but it came back, and sure enough, it's just a rodent ulcer. So she is now eating a hypoallergenic hydrolyzed protein kibble from Purina that's prescription only, and I'm even like giving her bottled water at this point, because I'm like, what if it's our well water? Like, I don't know. I'm just throwing anything I can and seeing what sticks. I've been to Ace Hardware, and I've gotten a fancy high MERV rating air filter. Are you having a rough day? But anyway, she's fine. She's acting totally normal, super cuddly, purrs constantly. She likes to hunt Coco, which is pretty funny to watch. I think it's because Coco's so cat-like. Winnie just tries to play with her more than the other two, because these two dachshunds are too rough with her. So, but yeah, she's just happy and eating fine and drinking and playing, and I don't know. So we're just along for the ride, I guess. See what we can figure out. We might have to take her to a vet dermatologist in Houston to do a skin test to nail down like what the allergy is. But until then, we're just kind of seeing if this new food helps and going day by day. So that's the update on Winnie. What else? We got an espresso machine, a really fancy one, and I love it. It is a Gaggia Cadorna Prestige, and I bought it from wholelattelove.com, and it's getting me into so much trouble. It has like a milk carafe. You put milk in this carafe, it hooks right into the machine, and you push one button, and you can make like 14 different drinks. And I like to put some caramel syrup in my mug, and then I put it under the spigot thing, and I push one button and it steams and froths milk directly into my cup, and then it brews the espresso on top, and it's so good. So I'm trying to limit myself to 2 a day, but that is bringing me so much joy at the moment. Just because we live in the middle of nowhere, and it's not like we can just go to Starbucks or anywhere really to get like a good coffee. So we pulled out all the stops and got this ridiculously expensive espresso machine because I got a nice work bonus. And I was like, well, before we put, you know, the money in savings, can we spend it on something fun first? And so that's been fun. We are planning a trip in the next few weeks to Galveston. So Jake and I are going to go hang out at, we have a hotel booked that we stayed at a few years ago, and I'm planning on restarting. If you watched, I think was it my first Flosstube? I talked about, I had started This Joyous Season, I think that's the name, This Joyous Season by Plum Street, back in January of 2023, I think. And I started it on 32 count, and since that time, I've really found my love for 36 and 40 count, and so I'm planning to restart it. And since I associate that project with that trip, I really want to restart it on this trip coming up. So I'm thinking I'm going to take that with me and hopefully create some new memories, because we will probably just be at the hotel bar for the whole time. I'm just being honest. And my in-laws had bought this gumball machine off of Amazon, and I'm going to link it below, but they had filled it with Skittles, and my father-in-law decided it was a bad idea because it was too accessible. You can turn the coin operation off and just turn it so that it's free, and you can just get a handful of candy anytime you want. And they were like, this was a bad idea. I don't have any self-control. So they were like, Carrie, do you want it? And I was like, hell yeah, I want it. So now it is in my sewing room, and I am going to put like a huge bag of peanut M&Ms in there, I think. And I like to think of it as exposure therapy. Like, if it's always available to me, then I'm less likely to indulge. And that works for some people, but obviously it didn't work for my in-laws. So yes, I will have the cute little, and they make them that, like, they make gumball machines that are tabletop too, so you can just get the top part and not the stand. I don't know, it's just cute and fun, and it's pink, so I was very happy to take that off their hands. So anyway, I am going to show a couple of finishes. I'm going to put Ginger down on the floor because you're a dog and that's where you belong. Yeah. And I'll be right back. All right, so I decided after last month that I don't want to do Whipco anymore. It's not that I don't enjoy it. Well, I just don't want to be boxed in and like forced to work on stuff. And that was kind of what it was feeling like. Like the numbers that were called for this month and last month, I just was like, I don't really want to stitch that. And there's so many other things I want to be working on that I just decided I'm going to do my own thing. But I did go ahead and finish. This was one of the numbers called for March, which was Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. I did finish block 5. I just need to stuff it, and then I have trim that I need to add around it. But basically, if you've seen like past posts and videos that I've done, I'm doing like individual blocks, and my plan is eventually to just have like a tiered tray maybe of all the blocks that have the words on it, because it's from a poem. So I figure if I stitch all the blocks that have the verse on them first, at least I'll have like a completed verse, and then whatever I get done after that is a bonus. So this is block 5, and then block 9, I think it's the last. I'll show that in a minute. Block 9 is the last text block. So, no, we are afraid they would have you. In Our Graves by Glowworm Night. So there's actually one more text block after this. And in case you're not familiar, I'm sure a lot of you are. This is what the pattern looks like. So I think I really like the train. So I think I'm going to stitch that. And of course I'm going to stitch the last block. I don't know if I'll stitch the witches or the scarecrow or the swamp, but we'll see. I mean, it's not Halloween yet, and I'm not really in the mood for Halloween, so maybe the closer it gets, I'll be more inspired to work on it. But for now, I've got 5 blocks done out of, what, like 11? I don't know. I don't want to count. Counting is hard. So, that was my first finish. And then after that, I was like, I don't want to do... I think the other Whipco number was Anne Grimshaw, and I was like, ugh. I just worked on that in January, and I want to work on it, but I want to work on it when I want to work on it. So, oh, and on block number 5, I ended up adding seed beads to it instead of doing French knots. And I know a lot of people don't like doing French knots, and I had a few people mention colonial knots, which I think I've done before, but I just need more practice. So I just, instead of doing French knots, I just did beads. Just little seed beads from Hobby Lobby. And I think it's fine. So lots and lots of fill on this block. It was almost full coverage except for up here. So this one took a long time. Okay, and then my next finish is yellow polka dot bikweenie, and it kills me. This was stitched on Vintage Homespun by R&R, and the pattern is yellow polka dot bikweenie by Plum Street, and I used all the called for threads, and my frame is from Hobby Lobby. I just had it custom made. And I think it turned out really nice. I'm not really a yellow person, but this project was screaming for a yellow frame. And I'm not sure where I'm going to hang it yet because I have so much stuff in this room. I thought I would hang it in my sewing room, but I'm kind of... There's a lot of stuff in here. So I'm still deciding where I want to put it. But it turned out really nice, and I'm happy with it. And this frame comes in different colors. I think I saw it in green and like a red, like a faded red, I want to say. So I think I would totally order this frame again. But that's that. And then my last finish was, to quote Shakespeare, by With Thy Needle and Thread. And I started this on March 9th, and I finished it April 1st. And the finishing on this was freaking hard. I also have the over one piece. This was fine. Like, you know, I would pick it up and do a few letters here and there, and I got it done, and it was fine. It was probably the easiest piece to finish. I just put it in a... Now I stitched on 36 count, so my pieces are larger than they should have been. So I ended up, instead of a 3-inch hoop, I had to order 3.5-inch hoops in order to fit it in there. And then this box, it's a paper mache box, a cardboard box that I ordered from factorydirectcrafts.com. And I think I checked the other day and it's out of stock now, but if you keep checking their website, you can probably still order it. And it's just one single oval box. And because I had stitched it on 36 count, it didn't quite fit on the box. It was too big. So what I did was I was determined to make it work, so I traced the bottom of the box and I cut out mat board. And I stacked pieces of mat board. I think I had to do 4 pieces of mat board. And then I glued all those together and then glued it to the bottom of the box to make my box taller. And then from there I added my lining. that my friend Marcia sent to me. Thank you. She got it from Michael's. We don't have a Michael's here, and I was not having any luck finding it at Hobby Lobby, but of course I accidentally included part of the salvage, but I don't care. I'm over it. It's fine. I used a lot of glue. I was going to try to sew it, but it was just, the ticking fabric is so like tightly woven. I was having trouble getting my needle through it, and I just thought, I'm just going to glue it. And then the bottom of it, I traced yet another piece of chipboard, and I covered that with more ticking and glued it to the bottom. And I don't love how it looks. It looks kind of sloppy, and I don't know. And then the back side of it, I ended up extending the border all the way across instead of having it just end on the sides. I think Carol at Saltbox had talked about doing that, and I thought, well, I might as well, just extend it and see. But yeah, it was hard to finish as a box. I'm glad I did it. I'm going to use it. I put some silks in it for now, and I figure I'll just cover up the selvage with my little hoop. Oh, and while I was stitching this, of course, you know me, I have to ask like all the questions. I was like, what part of Shakespeare is this quote from? So I got on Google and I looked it up, and it's actually referencing a woman named Philomela, I think. Philomela, is that how you, I don't know if that's how you say it, but I'm not an avid Shakespeare reader by any means. But I ended up having to like look up the Cliff Notes version so that I could read it in plain English, because I haven't tried to read Shakespeare in decades. But it was a reference to Philomela, and what happened was she was raped, and her attacker cut out her tongue, and the only way she could let people know what happened was by stitching out the attack to identify her attacker. So I'm sorry if that ruins it for you, but I had to know. I don't know if maybe she was illiterate or something, but I would have at least gone for like a game of charades first before trying to make a whole sampler out of this traumatic event. I think it would have been a little faster, but anyway, I'm sorry if that ruins it for you. But it's cute. It's cute. I really like the colors. There's a lot of red, but then there's also like a lot of pink. Like it's pinky red. So it's cute. And then I just threw the lid out because you don't really need the lid for anything. But yeah, to quote Shakespeare, buy with thy needle and thread. And those are my finishes. So let's move on to my new starts. Oh, look, there's my husband out there. Alright, I'm re-recording this section, and I'm being a big whiny baby about it because this is like the worst thing that could have happened to me today. So I'm being very dramatic. Okay, yeah, so the first run through of this, I did not have my microphone on, and I talked to an empty room for like 10 minutes. So, my new starts. This is Meanie Weenies by Plum Street Samplers, and this was my favorite market release this year. If you watched my last Flosstube, I shared all of the other charts that she did about dachshunds, and since I have two dachshunds, I had to make this one, of course. And yeah, so I'm using all the called for the threads, and I'm using 36 count Hemingway by Needle and Flax. And I'm a little worried I started a little too far to the right. My margin is going to be kind of big here and a little skinny over here, but I think it's going to be fine. I'm planning a pillow finish, and I have some fun ideas in mind for that. And of course, when I have it done, I'm going to have my dachshunds, share it with y'all. I have to have them on screen. They're part of my they're part of my finish for this project, this idea that I have. But anyway, let's see. There's actually a fair amount of back stitching in this. the fire hydrant. There's text on the doghouse, and the yellow dachshund on the right actually has backstitched spikes on his hat, which crack me up. And then the grass at the bottom, there's little back stitches for that as well. So this one's going to be a labor of love because there's quite a bit of fill for it. But I'm excited to finish that and share my idea with you. So maybe in the next few weeks I can get that done. So that's Meanie Weenies, and oh, I'm looking for my threads. Like, where are they? So these are all the called for threads, and I wanted to share. I learned something very cool about Weeks Dye Works. I used to hate taking the thread off the card and then bringing the ends together and then cutting my lengths. And then recently I saw someone share they just cut through the loops on the end of their skein. And I was like, that's genius. And then they have all their lengths pre-cut. And then, okay, I'm holding a microphone, so like I don't know how I'm going to do this. So when you want to take a thread out after you've cut through the loops on the ends, you would just pull one strand right out. Like, how quick and easy is that? So that's saving me a ton of time. And I really appreciate the person who shared that, because sometimes the most obvious things are, I just don't even think about it. So I hope that helps someone. So, all right, so my other new start that I had was Jessie Ormiston. This was in the Hands Across the Sea red box sampler, All Things Bright and, not sampler, but it's red box, All Things Bright and Beautiful. So I did get the box, and this was the first pattern. I think it was the first pattern that was in the box, because I pulled it out and I immediately ordered all the silks for it and the fabric, which I'm using 36 count Black Swan by Fox and Rabbit. And I did have to get out my magnifier and my light for this, because stitching on black fabric is hard. And this fabric, I swear, it's a linen, but it's like an even weave. So getting my eyes to adjust to that was hard. And I'm keeping all of my silks in my To Quote Shakespeare box at the moment, which you probably saw earlier. So the thing about stitching on black fabric, though, is it's really unforgiving. So some of my stitches don't look too good. So I'm just trying to not get too obsessive about that. I think it should look good in the end, but it's going to be small, and I'm thinking like a colorful frame around the edge when I'm done, and I'll hang it on the wall. All right, my next new start is the Skipjack sampler, and I had seen this here and there on Instagram, and I liked the colors and what people were doing, but when I saw Frizzy Lizzie's stitches post her finish, I fell in love, and I had to immediately just go order the fabric and the threads and the pattern. So this is kind of going to be like my summery spring outdoor side porch stitching. And the threads I'm using are actually from Xstitch MD on Instagram. Did a floss conversion for this using Roxy Floss. And if you go to her Instagram profile, she has a story highlight called Conversions, and you can get the floss conversion there. So I had never stitched with Roxy Floss, and this was of course an exciting opportunity to try something new. So I got on Evertote's website, and I found all the colors I needed except for the orange and the green. So they were out of stock on the ones that Xstitch MD had listed. So I just did my best, and I just randomly picked a green and an orange that I thought would work. So vitamin C and lime juice were the colors that I chose, and I think they're going to look great. So I'm very happy with the colors in this. So I guess you could say this is a conversion of a conversion. And the fabric is 36 count I Lilac You a Lot by Fiberlicious. Really pretty purple. It's just so fun. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm probably going to frame it, stick it somewhere in our house, but it's just fun, happy colors. So I'm in my happy place when I work on this one. All right, that is it for my new starts. So let's move on to current projects. All right, so current projects. Let's see, what do I want to start with? I will start with Dasher and Dancer. So Emily at Shady Grove Stitcher and I are doing a stitch along for this pattern, and it's by Hobby House Press, and it's pretty big. So we have divided it up into manageable, or so we hope, manageable segments to break up the pattern and hopefully have it finished by November this year. So I am using Gloriana Cranberry for mine, and my linen is 40 count Winter White by Seraphim. And so the March assignment was to do that top border and the large alphabet underneath it. And then in April, we are scheduled to do the smaller border under the big alphabet and then the small alphabet with the string of numbers. And of course, Emily's like already got hers done, so I hope that it doesn't take very long. I think it should be a lot faster than what we did in March. So if you want to join us, we have a hashtag. Sorry, I have to burp. We have a hashtag Dasher and Dancer South. You can see what other people are using in terms of linen and thread colors. Emily is doing hers in a green thread. What else? Oh, and if you need a link to the schedule and how we've divided everything up, I'll put that in the description box below, and you can download the chart, not the chart, but like the schedule of how we've divided that up. So I'm having fun with that. And I also worked on Sarah Barker by Pineberry Lane. And when I showed this last, I had only done the border in a couple of these flowers. I think I did this one, a few of them. I've added the flowers on the border, and then I started on her name and one of the birds. But one of the first things that drew me to this pattern was the colors. I thought the colors were so, I don't know, the colors are just so fun. It reminds me of sherbet. And I'm stitching this on 36 count Vintage Pecan Butter by Lakeside. And this is going to be fairly small. It finishes at about 8 by 9. So I'm going to put it in a small frame. I also worked on Elizabeth Furniss. And I'm trying to make this a monthly stitch. Let's see, Lisa at L Snaps, her birthday was February 19th, and so I have kind of decided every 19th of the month, that's when I'm going to work on this. So I got the rose, one of the roses, completely stitched. Oh my gosh, that was fun and also challenging, because you can't really tell what you're stitching until you step back and you look at it, and then you see the rose as a whole. But there's a lot of different colors and a lot of thread changes, and it can be kind of challenging to not mess up on. So as far as I know, I don't have any mistakes, but I could find out later that I've messed up catastrophically. We'll see. And then I had also, I had stitched, last time I showed this, I had stitched the red outline on the cartouche, and I had done the border, and was very sad to realize I was off by one half stitch, like somewhere over here. So I had to take all that out. I had to take out the red cartouche outline. It was very sad. It was going to drive me crazy. And for a pattern this size, to not address a mistake that early into it just felt like a disservice to the chart. So I did go ahead and pick it out. I had to spend a whole evening on it, but you know what? It's correct now. And I went back and I filled in the bones all the way to the corner to hopefully give myself a correct and true guideline as a reference when I'm stitching anything over here. At least I know it, you know, it's correct, and I don't have to count from an error. So I don't know if I'm going to continue down the side here, or if I want to go ahead and restart the cartouche and then work down onto the tree of knowledge in Adam and Eve down here. So I guess I can do either, but at least I know that the stitches are in the correct place and I can count off from anywhere and hopefully still be correct. But really love this one. I am using, where did I put my threads for this? I'm struggling today. I really thought that I had this nailed the first time. I am using all the DMC for it. And let me tell you, the pattern does not adequately convey the brightness of the color palette. I think it's just so pretty. So if you want to make this, I think the DMC is beautiful. Now you could do the Aversois threads if you want to spend $1 million. But the DMC is really making me happy. So I'll be working on that again on the 19th this month, and then maybe I might spend a couple days after that working on it. I think my last current project, this is what I really wanted to be working on the last week or so of March. I was supposed to be doing my whip go for that month, but I really wasn't feeling it. So I decided I'm going to do what I want. And I'm going to work on At Home. So this is At Home by With Thy Needle and Thread. Last time I showed this, I already had the border filled in. I'm still adding the leaves and everything around it, but I had done all of the outside, and I had done I think these 4 little motifs down here. So when I picked it back up about a week ago, I put in some of the grass, I got the house started, and I did all the motifs over here, including my initials. The deer are so cute. I had a lot of fun stitching those. And once I get the house done, or at least outlined, I mean, a lot of these trees are just freestanding, just tiny motifs. I think the bulk of the work is the border in that house. And then I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this quote or if I want to change it to something. I'm still thinking about it. I'm stitching this on 36 count linen by Weeks Dye Works, and that's the color name, linen. And it's a really nice neutral. And I think, what else did I do? Anything? I'm rifling through my pile here. I guess that's it. All right, so we will move on now to haul. Okay, I was kind of feeling like I didn't have very many Easter patterns, and I love With Thy Needle and Thread, so I just got online and I picked out a few that I wanted to get. I think I ordered these from Hobby House, so of course everyone is stitching Jelly Bean Jubilee, and I did not have this one. And I really like these Jubilee books because they mostly, I think all of them call for DMC, which, I mean, that's so nice because I have the whole set of DMC. So I can start this anytime I want. I don't know if I'll get any done this year, but I might have some for next year. So I got that. And then I got Hoppy Easter, which, so cute. We got, Emily and I got Winter Berries and Pine. So we're going to be starting that soon, but Brenda has different patterns like this that are really cute. And the handle, I think, is over 1 stitching. There's some over 1 in these, but they're just little and cute, and someday I'll make it. Also got Grandma's Candy Dish. I really like the basket in this. It's just satin stitches. Sorry, I'm not very coordinated today. It's just satin stitches. I thought that's really neat. It adds some interesting texture. And then the little bows looked like I would just literally tie little tiny bows with the thread. Call it good. So I wouldn't even backstitch anything. And there's little beads too in this. But I thought that's cute. And then I got A Girl in Her Garden because we recently went plant shopping and we're going to have landscapers come eventually. The rain keeps delaying them, so they're telling us mid-April now for our yard to get done, but I'm kind of feeling the plants and the flowers and the gardening stuff, so I picked this up and I thought maybe I'll make it. Maybe this year, maybe not, but I have it. And then my last pattern that I got, I hadn't really seen this one before. It's called Strawberries and Stripes, and it's teeny tiny. Like, you could stitch this up in an evening. So like I have all the thread and it'll fit inside this little 3-inch hoop. So you could make it into the basket, but after doing, to quote Shakespeare, I was like, I'm just gonna put it in a hoop and call it good. So I figure I'll just hang it from like a cabinet doorknob, and it's just a little 4th of July small, but looked really easy, and there's a lot of colors that it calls for, but you could totally just use what you had in your stash. I mean, it's just, you use so little of them, but there's quite a few colors. So I figure I can at least do that by the 4th of July. And then I've seen a couple of people on Flosstube sharing their finishes for this, and the more I see it, the more I like it. And so I decided I'm gonna go ahead and get the pattern, and then maybe later this year when I want to do something small and Christmassy, I can pull this out. I like that. And then for my mom, for Mother's Day, I don't know if it'll be Mother's Day this year, but I thought this would be something I could make her relatively quickly and gift to her. This is Bobbin by Stacy Nash. And I have a bobbin, not a bobbin, but like a spool that I could finish it on and everything. I just have to make it. So this came from Beautiful Sip and Stitchery, and it's BEE, beautiful. And I've never ordered from her before, but she was really fast to ship out, and she sells tea as well. So if you like tea and stitching, it's a good shop to use. And when she sent my order, I got a free bag of, like, a little single serve packet of tea that I can try, and it smells really good. I also picked up, because I didn't want that to travel alone, I picked up Humming of the Bees by Blackbird. I've seen a lot of people make this, or they're working on it, and I thought it was way more intimidating. And then when I got it and I looked at the pattern, I was like, I think I can probably do this. I don't think it's as big as I thought it was. I mean, yeah, it's big, But the bricks in the house, the red is one color and the mortar is one color. So it's not like you would be changing your thread out that much for each brick. But maybe, I don't know, I'd like to make it someday. I think it's really pretty, and I don't have a whole lot of blackbird in my stash. And then my last pattern that I got, I saw this and I thought it was so different. It's called the Sea Apple by A Gardener's Needle. And it's like kind of a silly take on Adam and Eve and the Tree of Knowledge. It's a mermaid and a merman under like a coral tree. Just like, that's kind of, and I liked the whale. I like the colors. I'm thinking I'm going to stitch it on a purple fabric, kind of like the color I used for Skipjack sampler. They're actually in my mailbox right now. I need to go get them, but I have two. I ordered two, I think they were Fiber on a Whim purples that I wanted to try. And so I have all the threads for it. I don't know when I'll make it. I'm not planning on making it into a stitching bag. I just want to stitch. I think Ginger wants Jake to pick her up and he's not obliging. I think I just want to stitch the mermaid and the merman and the tree, and then I want to make the whale. So I don't know if I'll do the border. Look at the snail though. The snail and the little stingray. I don't know. I just thought it was different. I had never seen anything like that. And I don't think that this got near enough attention that it deserved at market this year. So I ordered this from Primrose Cottage Stitches, but it's been a little hard to find just in general. Like, I don't know if maybe they didn't print enough or they're not widely available, but 123 Stitch is supposed to have it in stock, but it's still not available to order. And Primrose might have another copy or two, but keep your eye out for this because I thought it was really neat and kind of just, I don't know, just the coral tree, and I just thought it was clever. So those are my patterns. And then I got my Seraphim Fabric of the Month Club. I think this is from March. Someone tell me if it's not, because when I pulled it out of the package, it looked very similar to the one we got in February. And I had to go and check, and then I rifled through my linen, and I might have misplaced or mixed up the last two club shipments, but I got that. And then I ordered 40 count Shrekie's Tan by Needle Bling. This is something that I see a lot and I don't have any of. So I thought, just for my stash, pick that up. I want to say the Stacy Nash Dachshund Animal Crackers might use Shrekie's Tan, but I don't know. I also got from Cedar River Linen 36 count Arboreal, which is what that new Brenda Gervais pattern calls for. What is it called? The one that says be good and do good. I'm not planning to stitch it, but I hear so many people talk about this linen that I thought I'll just get it so I have it. You never know. You might need a green linen. All right, so I also got 40 count Albarium by Cedar River Linen. Her linen is so nice and her packaging is fabulous. I love her custom tissue paper that you get. I don't know, like, it's just so extra, and I'm totally about extra. So this is just a nice, like, creamy neutral linen. And I got 40 count. I'm branching out into the higher counts, so I'm building my stash. I also got from Hobby House. I hate these paper bags that they send it in. I got Wood Smoke by Tabby Cat. This is 36 count, and it's like a greenish gray. That's pretty true. I don't know what I'll use it for, but I think, so when I got the All Things Bright and Beautiful red box, it came with coupons to these like different vendors, and Tabby Cat was one of them, and Hobby House was one of them. So I got linen from Hobby House, and I have on order something directly from Tabby Cat that I believe is in customs right now, so I don't know when that'll come, but got that. And then I also ordered, this is Abecedarian by R&R. This is what I used to stitch, to quote Shakespeare on, and I liked it so much I didn't want to run out of it, and I wanted more, so I went ahead and picked up another fat quarter of that. It was a nice, it's like a nice brown tan color, so it's a good one to have in your stash. What else? That's all my haul. As far as plans, I know Emily at Shady Grove Stitcher, she just got her linen for Winter Berries and Pine by With Thy Needle and Thread. And if you're not sure what that looks like, I'll have Jake put a picture up here of the pattern, but I don't know when this is going to be released, like to be widely available, because we got our copies. Well, Emily called Shepherd's Bush and just said like, hey, I heard you have this pattern. And they were like, oh yeah. And of course they don't have it anymore because they sold out. But it came out over a year ago now, and it was an exclusive at first, and people are still waiting for like the major wide release, and I don't know how we got so lucky, but anyway, she just got her linen for that, and I've had mine kitted up for a couple of months, weeks. So as soon as she starts on hers, of course, that means I have to start on mine, because I don't want to be left out. So might be doing that, and then of course I'll be restarting this joyous season in Galveston in a few weeks. But other than that, I'm just kind of hanging in there. I feel like this video really was not that much work. I don't know why I was putting it off for so long. Just dramatic, I guess. So anyway, hoping to be back in about 3 weeks with more stitching to share. Until then, I will see you next time. Bye. Why are you looking at me? Jake keeps interrupting me, walking by and making faces. Did I disturb you? Let me bring this microphone down a little bit more. Everything is so bouncy today. Dang it. Jake, you messed me up.